All right, good morning, everybody. How are y'all doing this morning? This is a little different to look at, huh, guys? We are on my Klr650. And you guys might be asking why. Why does somebody that has a Road Glide and a VMAX and has done V-Rods and just about every other kind of bike, all of a sudden get an adventure bike? And that answer is simple, really. Besides, why not? And I just like motorcycles. One of my friends got an adventure bike, and all of a sudden I needed an adventure bike. And that's usually how this happens. Usually, if someone in a friend group buys a bike, a whole bunch of other people buy a bike. You know, friends like to do things together, especially when they get up where I'm at, middle-aged, 40 years old. You know, got their stuff together and have a little bit of expendable income. They'll pick up some things. And as you can tell, my bike's dirty. It's been being used. I tried to shoot I got a new bike video a few times and just wasn't happy with how it came out. So this is going to be my little intro to my Klr650. And like I said, why? Well, if you watch my channel, you'll see that I do a lot of things where I'm all about going out and experiencing new hobbies. And because I'm not rich, I have to do them on a budget. Usually it's pretty shoestring. So, why the Klr650? Because I got it basically how it's set up for, you know, $5,500 out the door. I bought it used. Mine's a 2018. It's the last year of the carbureted bikes. I personally like that idea. There's nothing wrong with fuel injection, but if I accidentally kill the battery, I can push start this. If I start having issues on the side of the trail, there's less things to go wrong, and I can usually get a carburetor running again. And I know some people are going to say, well, I've been riding for X amount of years, and I've never seen anyone with a fuel-injected bike, you know, have fuel injection issues. Well, I have, and I've also had fuel pumps in my cars go out. So, the less things to go wrong when I'm out in the woods, the better, in my personal opinion. So, this bike has a whole bunch of Tusk stuff all over it. The previous owner put it on there for me. So it's got the drop bars, it's got the skid plate. It had all soft luggage. I did the cheap thing and went to Harbor Freight and got me some boxes and built out some hard luggage. I like the idea of being able to lock things. And my issue with the Tusk luggage was when it rained, everything got wet. So that was that. I've also added the cell phone mount. This is a chargeable cell phone mount. I'm going to add it. I have switches down here that will allow me to run power to everything. You know, there's very few things I need to do. I got to replace these because these work good for knocking little tree limbs out of the way, but if you drop the bike, they don't have any protection. So I've got the stuff to replace those. I got a new windshield coming because whoever did this one, as you can hear, there's some rattling going on. And the previous owner tried to keep tightening things to get the rattling to stop, I suspect. I suspect he was using this for some more highway runs. And he cracked them. So if you guys have any bike that has plastics, you want these snug enough so they don't fall out, but you don't need to over tighten them because they'll crack like this and fall apart. So now I have to find this piece and get it sent in preferably a matching color, which isn't the biggest deal in the world. I just got to find one. I'll probably end up having to strip the sticker off of it. Well, no, that's not the sticker piece. So I got to find just this piece in the right color. It'll probably be about $100. I've already got a windshield ordered because it's literally busted out of the mounts on the bottom. I have dropped this bike a few times already. It's a tall bike. I'm not a tall guy. I'm 5'6". 5'7" wearing boots like I always like to wear. And like I tiptoe the daylights out of this thing. So I got a new seat coming for it, new used. I found it on eBay. The guy said, oh, it's a stock KLR seat. The pictures he had of it were not a stock KLR seat, unless Kawasaki sold one that had like a reach seat, which they do now in the S model, the short model. Now this one was already set up. It had a different bag on it that sun faded and the zipper started giving me issues, so I swapped out to my little Amazon bag here. But other than that, I've put new tires on it. The original tires were still on this when I picked it up a few months ago. And as you can tell, the bike has no problem handling even on knobby tires. So I actually call this like my giant sport bike. Now I want to get out there really clear. This is not a fast bike. It is a big single piston 650cc. It likes low end torque, so you don't, I just kind of lug it around on the street. It's a 5-speed. I'm constantly looking for that 6th gear, and at 70 miles an hour it's buzzy. And tire pressure is important for me at 70 miles an hour. I mean, let's get it up here to about 30. I'll show you. It kind of exaggerates it at the lower speed, but if I let go of the bars, see them wobbling? So that's the knobby tires I put on here. It didn't do that as bad with the Dunlops. I have Shinkos on here, and right now I got them aired to about 35 psi. Because when I had them down at 20 and a little lower, about 70 miles an hour, the whole bike would wobble. I called it the dyno wobble, is what it felt like to me. Now 75, I'm good. Sustained 80, it starts to wobble. But the surprising part to me is this has become my new, when people go at work, hey, I'm thinking about getting a motorcycle, what should I get? This has become my personal preference for a starter bike now. And that surprises a lot of people. And the reason why is it's fast enough, and this is a do everything bike. I can go everywhere on this bike, do everything I want to do, and it's going to get me there, it's going to get me home, and it's not going to ask any questions. It takes cheap gas because it's a big, lumpy, low compression engine. It's got a 6-gallon fuel tank, which is huge. Some people are getting 300 miles out of one tank on these things, and I feel like I could do the same. I get somewhere between 220, 240 miles before I swap over to reserve, and I'm willing to bet when I swap to reserve, I got at least a gallon left of gas. It's a phenomenal bike. It does everything a motorcycle should do. It's big enough that you can experience anything you want to experience. I got a big trip plan that I'm going to do. I'm going to go from Arkansas to visit my folks in Florida. I've done that trip before multiple times on my Road Glide and other bikes. It's 600-ish something miles, and I'll do it in one day, and I'll be riding this guy, and I'm sure I'm going to be fine. For that trip, the previous owner had installed this twist throttle lock that allows you to tighten down the throttle, and then it will hold the throttle. It's just a cheap cruise control. You obviously would not want to be using this in certain situations, in traffic and things like that, but out on the highway on long runs, there's nothing wrong with it. You just got to remember, you got to twist the throttle back the other way to stop it. Again, I really do love this bike. It's kind of becoming my daily rider. It's 438 pounds, so the Gen 2 is lighter than the Gen 3. I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. I'm finding these Gen 2s, $2,800, $3,000 right now. As we come into winter, bikes are starting to get sold more and more and more. Would I like to have a 6th gear for the highway? Yes. Did I wish it make a little more power? Of course I do. Do I plan on trading this in on a newer adventure bike? No. I don't feel like this bike limits me in any way. I feel like my riding abilities are lower than what the bike's abilities are. And to be honest, I felt like that with everything I had, including my Grom. Now, one thing that this bike is doing for me is it's got me wanting to get out and go practice again, which is something I really need to be doing. You know, I want to go out and practice my low speed stuff. I want to go out and practice being off-road and get better at riding the bike, because I don't want to fall over as much at low speeds and when I'm off-road. So it's got me wanting to do that again. A lot of my other bikes, I don't feel the need to do that. I don't feel the need to do that on the Road Glide, except for in very specific situations. And then because of how expensive my Road Glide is, I don't really like the idea of going out and dropping that bike a million times. With this bike, with all the drop protection, I'm not worried about breaking it. And also because of how inexpensive it is and how inexpensive parts are and readily available they are, I'm not worried about that either. You know, I really do feel like this is the perfect starter bike. It's not too powerful to where you're just going to scare yourself, but it's powerful enough that if you want to get on the interstate and go on a long trip, people have gone around the world with these bikes. So, you know, and from my on-road experience, as long as you understand what the bike is, it hasn't given me a problem. I can lean this thing over just fine. I can hustle it through a corner and have some fun with it. Is it my VMAX? No. Is it my buddy's naked bike? No. Is it my buddy? It's not even my buddy's KTM 890 or an Africa Twin when it comes to on-road presence, or the Tenere 700. The bike still only makes about 40 horsepower, 35 horsepower, somewhere in there, like 40 foot-pounds of torque. But it's simple, it's reliable, and again, I'm beating that drum, but when you go off into the woods, when you're going out camping, like, it's a pack mule. It'll do anything I want it to do. And the other good thing that it does is it soaks up every bump in the road like you would not believe. It's just irons everything out. So here we are, we're going to do some highway speeds. I'm up to 70 in 5th gear. We're sitting just a tick under 5,000 RPMs. And that's all it took. Like, when I say slow, it's slow for a bike. It's probably every bit as fast as a Camry. It's probably, I think it's going to be faster than my Ranger or my 06 Focus. Maybe. But, you know, fast is relative. Everybody's idea of what fast is different. This bike, if I was going from, still had just my Grom and I went from my Grom to this, I would think it was a much more powerful bike. I had a bigger bike before I had a Grom. I do not think Groms are good starter bikes. I think they're great scooter alternatives. If you want something more like a motorcycle and you live in like a really big city, but the drawback on the Grom is the size. And I've ridden the Grom on the interstate multiple times. It didn't bother me, but the little safety thing that keeps most people alive and not hurting themselves is turned way down on me. So, you know, I'm not bashing the Groms. Groms are great front. I love them. I just think they're a good second bike. I think they're so small and so underpowered that they teach you really bad habits. You know, wide open throttle everywhere, stuff like that. This, to me, and I tell people all the time, this is just a big Grom. You know, I hop on it, I twist the throttle, it does what I want it to do, and I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff with this bike. I just think it's awesome. I'm going to be finishing the setup for me a little better, and be practicing some and get better at it. So, but I kind of want to end the video. I don't want this to be too long. This is my KLR. I really do love it. It just goes to show you that yeah, I got a 200 horsepower fire-breathing monster. I still have a great time riding a bike that's slower. You don't have to go out and buy the biggest and fastest bike to go out and have a good time. You can ride this bike, have a great time, and you may just get this and keep this and never upgrade. Like, you may just continually upgrade the bike. And my recommendation is go find one, go get one, go out and ride it, go do the things to do with it, and explore and get to know it, and then decide what you want to do for upgrades. I went to some really off-road oriented knobby tires, and I'm tending to do more on-road than I thought I would do. So, you know, I'm not in a lot of mud. That's not my thing. I could probably back it off to a better 50-50 tire instead of a 80-20 tire, and it would have better road manners, and I would sacrifice a little bit, but I don't think I'd sacrifice as much as I thought I was going to sacrifice. So I'll probably try something like that next. Again, just a great riding bike. I guess at this point we'll just do a ride to work. I'm almost there anyway. Got another 5 minutes, why not? Again, great riding bike. And I'm the limiting factor. And I've been riding almost every day for 5 years. I started riding when I was 5. I was riding dirt bikes in Florida most of my childhood. I kind of wish I'd have never stopped, if I was honest with you. I think I'd be a much better dirt rider than I am now. I'm timid. I've always been kind of a timid driver. I've been a driver that drives, even racing. I'm more of a chess player than I am a fighter. That's the best way I can describe myself. I tell people that all the time. You know, a lot of people think life is a fight. It's not. Life is chess. Once you figure that out and start thinking a few moves ahead, your life will get easier. And this is coming from someone that 8 years ago had to start completely over, had a back injury, was medically pushed out of the Air Force. I am medically retired. You know, but in that, a lot of things happened. I ended up going through a divorce. There will be no bashing my ex-wife ever on this channel. We work together really well. I have a daughter. I feel like that if you end up in a situation where you're bashing your old significant other, you chose poorly, and it just shows your lack of maturity in those situations. It's just a personal feeling. And I get sometimes people need to vent for just, you know, a few minutes. That happens. But if it's a constant thing, I kind of turn off to it. I'm like, well, you chose them. You know, I got a daughter. That's what's most important in my relationship, is making sure that she's happy. And I need her to respect her mom. I need her to be happy with her mom. And I hope that her mom does well, and she is doing well, and she's happy. But I lost everything. I was hunting squirrels in the backyard. And, you know, I was 32, 33 years old when that happened. I'm 40 now. And I went from hunting squirrels in the backyard, driving a $120 Geo tractor that I pieced back together, to, you know, 4 cars, 3 motorcycles, etc. The only thing I had when I started over was the trailer I'm living in now. And it's, you know, it's a modular home. And if you look back at some of my videos, you can see where I'm still cleaning it up. I still suffer from the depression. It's just part of my life. So, and I have pretty good ADHD. It's why I bounce around and stuff. But this isn't a pity me thing. This is hopefully an enlightening thing that can raise you up and let you understand that hang in there, life gets better. 8 years ago, I went to bed every night wanting to take my 45 and blow my head off. Like, it was sitting in my dresser door. I looked at it every single night. And now I have a friend group in my motorcycle club that is like my family. And my life is pretty wonderful, and it allows me to do these things. And you know, I grew up poor as well, so it allows me to show everyone that you can go out there, you can have a great time on a budget. You know, I can go out and do the kayak fishing with a $200 fishing pole and a $100 fly rod set up off of Amazon. You know, I can even cut it down lower than that. I can go fly fishing with just that $100 or $80, you know, and go out there and have as much fun as the guys that spent $500 and $600 on their fly rods. You know, I can go out there on this. I can do any trip anyone does on any other bike on this bike, no problem. You know, the only thing that would be different is I'm gonna go a little slower. The bike's just a slower bike. You know, but I'm the limiting factor. And I'm gonna do that here soon. I'm gonna do a video, you know, on a moto camp setup that is, it's cost me, I upgraded my hammock. I went from a $40 hammock on Amazon to an $80 hammock. I think I can find a camp stove. I drug a camp stove out of the trash, which I may use, like old Coleman camp stove out of the trash. Someone was just throwing it away. I said, that's a perfectly good camp stove, and I grabbed it. I may just do that. I may show everyone how to do this, you know, on nothing, you know. And you can do it with any dirt bike. You don't have to do it with this. You know, if y'all want to see that video, let me know. I'll show y'all how to do this stuff and get out there and enjoy your life. You know, you don't have to have a super nice gun to go small game hunting. You can go small game hunting with a 22 caliber or a 177 caliber air rifle now, no problem, and be humane about it. So there's more videos coming this fall that are going to be great videos. You know, and as you guys have seen, 70, 75 over the bumps, through construction, no problem. The knobby tires, everything. Nothing wrong with this bike. And the longevity on this bike speaks for itself. I think that this bike came out in '87. I don't think there were much changes other than appearances from '87 to 2018. And that's because they didn't have to change it. In my personal opinion, this is the cheapest adventure bike, true adventure bike you can get. Is the Gen 2 KLR. Brand new. The Gen 3 KLR now is still the cheapest true adventure bike. And by that I mean it has the wind protection for you to do the longer miles. It's got the luggage space. It's big enough to do the miles on the highway without having any major issues. So 50 on the off ramp, no problem. Just no issues whatsoever. And you know, I'm almost to work, guys. That's it. And it gets gas mileage wise, because I haven't talked about that, I'm getting 45, 50 miles to the gallon out of this thing. You know, it just, you know, I think I'm getting between 40 and 50 depending on if I'm doing more, you know, off the highway stuff or on the highway stuff. And I'm not a lighter rider. I weigh 220 pounds. Like I said, I got medically discharged from the Air Force. I'm actually medically retired, so I have a pretty bad back injury, which makes running really difficult. I did, in the depths of my depression, blow up to 280 pounds. So I'm slowly working my way back down. My goal is to be 180 pounds before the new year. I don't know if I'll make it. You know, it's hard. I'm trying to change my eating lifestyle. I drive for a living, so sometimes food is just what I can grab because you get tired of eating the same sandwich every day. You know what? I might regret this because I'm going to work. and the grass is wet, but it is an adventure bike. What mini review would be complete? Without getting off the road. And I'm going to try not to splash through all the giant mud puddles just because I'm, like I said, going to work and I don't want to be super muddy. But we shall see how this works out for me. Ooh, we got some gravel. Oh, right there. Well. And it's digging and it's digging and it's digging. Okay, now I'm going to step off the bike and push. That was not apparently the smartest thing to do. So, this will allow me to show y'all a trick. But as you can see, again, this is a 430-pound bike. So, what I just did, because again, I'm super short-legged, guys. Remember, I'm 5'6". So I have to get off the bike. Got off the bike there, and it was easier to get off that way down in that mud hole. And then I got to climb back on the bike. Oh boy, I may have screwed up. Let's get it in neutral. Boy, this will get some views, I'm sure. I never claimed to be intelligent, guys. It's all about balance on these bikes. The bikes will stay upright. It doesn't take anything to keep them at the balance point once you get it there. But the main fear is I don't want to go that way because that's down a hill, and I don't want to go over that way because that's down in a ditch. Alrighty. And there's the kickstand. Boy, this ground is so soft today. It rained yesterday, so this was definitely not my wisest decision. And I'm kind of in a rut. So what this is simply just a four-wheeler trail that, in my great wisdom, I decided to ride down going into work because I thought I had time. So, hopefully y'all are enjoying this. The main goal now is to look where I want to go and not where I don't want to go. So, and I'm standing up and I'm working the clutch, and I'll be through this in a minute. that hung my foot. But you can do this. I'm going to recommend against it at this point. This trail is nowhere near as traveled as it was earlier in the year. There we go. So a lot of four-wheelers come through here because there's actually a little city-run like four-wheeler park for people. Watch out for the grass. We made it! Well, we're almost to work, guys, and that will include my introduction for my KLR. And I do this coming into work on this bike. It just allows me to, like I said, it's a fun bike. It allows me to do all kinds of stuff. Anyway, thanks for riding with me, guys. Love y'all. Bye.